Hey guys, what's up? They did it. They actually did it. I can't really believe that they did it, but they did it. It's happening. It already happened. It already happened. For those of you who may be living under a rock, Microsoft's acquisition of Activision just completed, and on day one, they went back and updated old Call of Duty servers on Xbox. This is day one. This is the first move by them, and without a doubt is an absolute win. But it also highlights the very little effort and time required to actually do the simple little things that fans have been begging for a while. Now, before we get into what this confirms and what this means for the next year of Call of Duty, I do want to point out I've been away, not thinking about Call of Duty or gaming, and the only reason I found out about this was a fan's comment on one of my older videos. I haven't been active because there wasn't anything I felt like reporting on. Modern Warfare 2022 is falling into the same issues and poor decisions as Modern Warfare 2019. I was playing Plutonium, but when that would go down, I would play X-Labs, but then X-Labs got shut down by Activision, as well as SM2, a project we'd been anticipating for 2 years. More stuff confirms Sony's shitty business practices with Activision and how they played a crucial part in restricting certain things that fans wanted out of Activision. And then Sony did its best at being a ripe to slow down the acquisition, and all of that just was very boring and depressing. So I moved over to playing Battlefield 2042, which after the updates was pretty awesome, and I went back and played some Destiny 2. I was contemplating possibly just taking a full year off of YouTube or turning my channel around to non-Call of Duty related content. Then yesterday I got a notification from this fan's comment saying that I should do a video on the Call of Duty servers getting updated. Not gonna lie, I thought this kid was yanking my chain. I thought you were stupid or just lying. Reading your message, I was essentially like,
I don't believe you.
Then I looked and sure enough, it's true. So here you go, dude. I'm making this long-awaited video because of you. Thanks. So I immediately told my friends, I told my dad, and this is still kind of unbelievable. Now, Activision has had possession of so much feedback and data showing that supporting classic Call of Duties has been the right move for a long time, but some Catch-22 always got in the way of their efforts in that direction, and the best they could give us was more remastered maps and other content and Call of Duties we don't really enjoy. But they knew and have known what fans have wanted. They had the data. They were in communication with leaders of projects like SM2 and with Andy, if y'all remember Andy, who never finished making the Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer, and they were closely monitoring projects like Plutonium and X-Labs, because these groups, without the help of huge marketing campaigns, were still able to achieve millions of downloads from fans for simply providing support for 10-year-old Call of Duties that people actually wanted to play. The majority of fans right now don't really jive with the new Call of Duties, and that's not a subjective statement anymore. We've got the data to back it up. Most older Call of Duties still have player counters. So yesterday, we got to see how many people went back to play older Call of Duties. Call of Duty 4 hit a few thousand. World at War hit around 3,000 at its peak. Black Ops 2 achieved 10,000 players at one time yesterday. Modern Warfare 3 got up to almost 70,000 players at one given time. Original Modern Warfare 2's player count is inactive, but some folks claim to have somehow confirmed 50,000 players at one point. But Black Ops 1 was able to achieve 100,000 players at one given time. And this is not even including the tens of thousands of players on Spec Ops and Zombies. Classic Call of Duties on Xbox throughout the last 24 hours has achieved active users in the hundreds of thousands. 300,000 in the very least. To put it in perspective, Modern Warfare 2022 and Warzone 2 combined on Steam in the past 3 months are averaging around 65,000 players at any given time, with Modern Warfare 2022 estimated to represent less than 10% of that number. In other words, less than 6,000 people are playing Modern Warfare 2022 at any given moment. Classic Call of Duties collectively brought in 300,000 active players yesterday versus Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone's whopping 70,000 peak on Steam. But regardless of all that, they've been sitting on this for a while, and I knew something like this was going to come out of Microsoft once they finally got control of Activision. But a lot of us just didn't know when that was going to happen, or if there was going to be any lingering business they had to abide by for a year or two before they could do whatever they wanted. Let's take a trip back to one of my last videos going over this, which turns out just might be the case. One of the many reasons Sony is upset at the acquisition is the fact that the process itself holds the potential right to legally void previous agreements or sanctions, or at the very least put them up for renegotiation, which would take away all of Sony's leverage, and allow Activision to do and release whatever the hell it wants under Microsoft. Now, Microsoft is very confident in its acquisition and already has plans to revitalize the Call of Duty franchise. Microsoft already released this ad talking about the acquisition and the future of Call of Duty, which included screenshots of not just Modern Warfare 2 2022, but also the original Modern Warfare 2. This Microsoft ad talking about the future of Call of Duty just advertised a game that's over a decade old. This was no accident. This was with great intention a hint that classic Call of Duty has an important role in the future of the franchise under Microsoft. Now, in that video, I also talked about the freedoms from Sony's sleazy business practices and implications of the control Microsoft has with such freedoms and what that means for remastered projects in the near future. I definitely recommend you go check out the rest of that video. The link will be in the description. Now, you may be wondering, like many people are asking, why didn't they do some update or whatever for PlayStation 3 older CODs or whatever? The obvious answer is, of course, this was just some Microsoft push. But the two major answers, obvious answers, is one, PlayStation doesn't have backwards compatibility on its last two consoles to go back to the PS3 era, so it's not really practical. The second big reason is because this is all in preparation for adding these games to Xbox Game Pass. And I had mentioned this a while back on Twitter that this was in the cards. This is the direction they are heading once they get control of Activision, but I was surprised nonetheless that not only did they update classic Call of Duty's day one, but they did so well before they ever added those games to Game Pass. My head is honestly still spinning thinking about what this means for the next few years. There were so many ideas that Activision had that fans would have loved, that Activision aborted because of restrictions they found themselves under or rules they found themselves having to abide by because of some shitty agreement they found themselves in, usually with Sony. Some quick examples: the complete remastered Modern Warfare trilogy project, which included all campaigns, spec ops, and multiplayer that fell apart because Sony agreed to the funding of the project initially if they in turn got control over each remastered title's release. A power that they abused by withholding the release of Modern Warfare 2 remastered multiplayer and of course Modern Warfare 3, essentially holding these projects hostage as leverage to get things that they wanted, and when Activision said screw this and pulled out of the deal altogether, Activision was essentially forced to release a statement claiming that there is not nor was there ever a Modern Warfare 3 remastered project. And the penalty for leaving such a deal was that Sony would in return get more years of exclusivity. But old leaks also showed that they had a Treyarch trilogy planned as well, with World at War, Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 2, and then they were looking into releasing a remastered collection of the first 3 Call of Duties. And if you remember, we were supposed to get a Call of Duty Elite-style application, the leaked images of which caused people's Twitters and YouTube channels to get DMCA'd, and that Elite application was going to be a menu that gave access to Call of Duty news, Call of Duty videos, trailers, and it was going to have an access tree to all the previous Call of Duties, with cool features like a challenge menu that tracked all your challenges and all the CODs you were playing, as well as delivering challenges that transcended all the Call of Duties you were playing. All these great and fun ideas that spoke to what fans have been asking for and what they actually wanted, that for some reason or another Activision just decided after spending all that time and money looking into these ideas and building them up, that all of a sudden, without explanation, they should just be dropped. The more I learn about Sony and Activision's relationship over the past decade, the more I realize when something good that has had a lot of time, money, and effort invested into it just randomly gets aborted, or is completed but is then held hostage, is because Sony was using some type of control or power over certain aspects to sabotage or slow down projects as leverage to get what they wanted. And before the Sony ponies and fanboys get their feelings hurt and come at me saying that I'm an Xbox fanboy, I grew up on the PS1, then the PS2, then the PlayStation Portable, then the PS3, then the PS4. The only one I haven't gotten yet is the PS5. So yes, when Xbox exclusivity was around during the PS3 days, I was pissed right along with you. I hated it. I was miserable, and I told myself I can't wait for Sony to have exclusivity and have more say in what Call of Duty does or does not do. But I'm going to say right now, without a doubt, knowing what I know now and experiencing the past 10 years of Call of Duty and the last 9 disappointing years under Sony exclusivity and seeing what Microsoft did day one of Activision's acquisition, I'm happy that Microsoft has now taken control over Call of Duty. I'm happy that classic COD is now no longer being treated as something we're supposed to just forget ever happened and never play again. So yeah, I'm optimistic and I hope you guys are too. That's the end of my video. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, comment down below, keep the conversation going, and I'll catch you guys next time.